Was the fix in? Did the mob control boxing's biggest fights? Today, we're diving into the shadiest, most controversial moments in boxing history. From loaded gloves to phantom punches, from crooked judges to the longest count ever. Some of these will make your blood boil. Others might change how you see boxing legends forever. Let's get into it. Number 7. The Don King era, when corruption was king. We're starting with the IBF bribery scandal that rocked boxing for over 13 years. Picture this, from the mid-80s to late 90s, if you wanted a title shot, you didn't need the best record, you needed the deepest pockets. IBF President Robert Lee and 3 other officials were literally selling rankings like they were running a yard sale. Don King and Bob Arum? They were allegedly dropping envelopes stuffed with cash totaling $338,000 to keep their fighters ranked. In 1995, Arum admitted he paid $100,000 just so George Foreman wouldn't have to face his mandatory challenger. Instead, they fed him Alex Schultz, a guy Foreman demolished by majority decision. Here's the kicker. Lee got convicted on bribery charges, serving 22 months in prison, and got slapped with $25,000 in fines. Over 23 boxers and 7 promoters were caught up in this mess. The wild part? This went on for 13 years before anyone did anything about it. Makes you wonder how many careers were destroyed by fighters who couldn't afford to pay to play. Number 6. Pacquiao vs. Bradley, the robbery that sparked riots. June 9th, 2012, MGM Grand. Manny Pacquiao absolutely schools Timothy Bradley for 12 rounds. I'm talking 8 rounds to 4 on most scorecards. Pac-Man landed cleaner shots, controlled the pace, had Bradley stumbling around the ring. CompuBox had Pacquiao landing 253 punches to Bradley's 159. Then the decision comes in. Bradley by split decision. The crowd goes nuclear. Fans are booing, throwing stuff, screaming "fix" at the top of their lungs. Here's where it gets juicy. Both fighters were promoted by Bob Arum. The conspiracy theory? Arum knew 33-year-old Pacquiao was approaching retirement and wanted to crown a new American champion in Bradley. Some say he paid off judges C.J. Ross and Dwayne Ford. The rematch made millions, of course. Judge C.J. Ross, remember that name, would later score Mayweather vs. Canelo a draw when Floyd clearly dominated. She retired right after that debacle. Coincidence? Boxing fans don't believe in coincidences. Number 5. Margaritos loaded gloves, caught red-handed. January 24th, 2009. Shane Mosley's trainer, Nazim Richardson, is watching Antonio Margarito get his hands wrapped before their fight. Richardson notices something weird. There's a white powder on the wraps that looks like, wait, is that plaster of Paris? For those who don't know, plaster of Paris hardens when it gets wet. And guess what happens when you're punching someone for 12 rounds? You sweat. Those wraps turn into concrete. They caught Margarito red-handed with these illegal wraps. California suspended him for a year, which seems light considering he was basically trying to fight with brass knuckles. But here's the real conspiracy. Miguel Cotto's face after their 2008 fight looked like it went through a meat grinder. Broken orbital bones, cuts everywhere. When they examined photos of Margarito's wraps from the Cotto fight, they found red stains and suspicious hardening around the knuckles, the exact same spots where the plaster was found before the Mosley fight. Cotto's team is convinced Margarito beat him with loaded gloves. In their 2011 rematch, with clean gloves and under intense scrutiny, Cotto destroyed Margarito. Makes you think, doesn't it? Number 4. 2 seconds from glory. The Chavez-Taylor controversy. March 17th, 1990, Meldrick Taylor is boxing the fight of his life against the legendary Julio Cesar Chavez. Taylor's winning on all 3 scorecards, 107-102, 108-101, and 108-101 again. We're talking complete domination. He's 2 seconds from becoming undisputed champion. With 24 seconds left in the 12th round, Chavez lands a devastating right hand. Taylor goes down but gets up at the count of 8. Referee Richard Steele asks Taylor, "Are you okay?" twice. Taylor, dazed and looking at his corner where trainer Lou Duva is screaming, doesn't respond clearly. Steele waves it off, with 2 seconds left. Taylor spent that night in the hospital with broken facial bones, internal bleeding, and kidney damage from body shots. He'd swallowed so much of his own blood he needed a transfusion. The beating was so severe, many say Taylor was never the same fighter after. He'd been literally 2 seconds from glory, from proving he could beat a legend. The controversy? Should Steele have let those final 2 seconds play out? Was protecting Taylor worth robbing him of the greatest moment of his life? Boxing fans still argue about this one at every bar in America. Number 3. Roy Jones Jr.'s Olympic robbery, the worst decision in Olympic history. 1988 Seoul Olympics. Roy Jones Jr. lands 86 punches on South Korea's Park Si-hoon. Park lands 32. Jones forces 2 standing 8 counts. It's not even close. It's a masterclass, a clinic, an absolute beatdown. The decision? Park wins 3-2. The referee, Aldo Leone, reportedly whispered to Jones, "I can't believe they're doing this to you." One judge, Morocco's Hioad Larbi, later admitted he scored it for Park on purpose because he thought the other judges would give it to Jones and he didn't want to embarrass the host country with a 5-0 score. But wait, it gets worse. Investigators found that several judges had been offered envelopes filled with cash by Korean boxing authorities. 2 of the 3 judges who voted for Park were eventually banned from boxing for life. The third mysteriously escaped punishment. Jones was so devastated he almost quit boxing entirely. The 19-year-old kid who dominated every second of that fight went home with a silver medal, while everyone knew he'd earned gold. The IOC later admitted this decision was so bad, it forced them to completely change how Olympic boxing is scored. That's how terrible this robbery was. It literally changed the sport. Number 2, the long count, boxing's most famous controversy. September 22nd, 1927, Soldier Field, Chicago. 104,943 fans, the biggest crowd in boxing history at that time. Jack Dempsey versus Jean Tenay 2 for the heavyweight championship. Round 7. Dempsey drops Tenay with a vicious combination. But here's the thing, there's a new rule that says when you knock someone down, you have to go to a neutral corner immediately before the ref starts counting. Dempsey, out of habit or bloodlust, stands over Tenay like a predator over prey. Referee Dave Barry keeps telling Dempsey to move. Dempsey won't budge. 4 seconds pass. 5, 6. Finally, Dempsey goes to the corner and Barry starts counting from 1. Tenay gets up at 9, but he'd been down for about 14 seconds total. He goes on to win the fight. Dempsey's last chance at reclaiming glory, gone because of a few seconds at a referee's decision. Here's the wild part. Al Capone had allegedly bet $50,000 on Dempsey. Rumors swirled about mob involvement, about fixes, about threats. Some say Tenay was down for 17 seconds. Others say 13. The truth? In 1927, they didn't have instant replay. We'll never know for sure, but the long count became the most analyzed, most debated knockdown in boxing history. Nearly 100 years later, we're still arguing about it. Number 1, the Phantom Punch. Boxing's greatest mystery. May 25th, 1965, Lewiston, Maine. Muhammad Ali versus Sonny Liston II. This is it, the most controversial moment in boxing history. First round, Ali throws what he calls an anchor punch, a short right hand that supposedly drops Liston. Here's the problem, almost nobody saw it. The crowd of just 4,000, the smallest for a heavyweight title fight ever, starts screaming, "Fake! Fix!" Even Ali wasn't sure he connected, asking his corner, "Did I hit him?" The punch was so invisible that legendary sports writer Jimmy Cannon said it couldn't have crushed a grape. But the conspiracy theories? Oh man. Theory 1. Liston was connected to the mob through Frankie Carbo and Blinky Palermo, and threw the fight to pay off debts. Theory 2. Liston was terrified of the black Muslims in Ali's entourage after Malcolm X was assassinated just 3 months earlier. Theory 3. The punch actually landed perfectly on the temple while Liston was moving forward, creating a legitimate knockout. Here's what makes it weirder. Referee Jersey Joe Walcott lost control completely. He never sent Ali to a neutral corner, let Ali stand over Liston screaming, "Get up and fight, sucker!" The official time shows Liston was down for 17 seconds, but the fight was actually over at 12 seconds. Nobody knew what was happening. The FBI investigated. The footage has been analyzed frame by frame thousands of times. Some people swear they can see the punch land. Others say Liston took the worst dive in sports history. The truth? We'll literally never know. Liston died in 1970 under mysterious circumstances. Some say mob hit, others say overdose, taking the truth to his grave. This wasn't just controversial, it changed how people saw boxing forever. Every controversial decision since then gets compared to the Phantom Punch. It's the Zapruder film of boxing. Everyone sees something different. There you have it. 7 boxing conspiracies that changed the sport forever. From loaded gloves to phantom punches, from crooked judges to mysterious counts, boxing's history is written in controversy. Some of these are confirmed corruption, while others remain mysteries forever. But here's the thing. Controversy is part of what makes boxing legendary. These moments, shady as they are, created the stories we still tell today. Without them, we wouldn't have the sport we love. What's your take on these controversies? Drop a comment with the one that makes you the angriest. And if you want more boxing deep dives, scandals, and legendary fight breakdowns, hit that subscribe button and ring the bell, because we're just getting started. Until next time, keep your guard up and your gloves clean. Peace out, fight fans.